Thanks, Marc, for visiting us in Montreal at the ShareGate office. It's always fun to have you here and talk Office 365 and even more.
It's always fun to do it. I wish I could visit more often. Montreal is not very far from Boston, but somehow it's far enough that we can't see each other often enough.
What I wanted to talk to you about is something coming up at ShareGate, a new product. And what we want to really focus on, what we've seen as we talked with all of our customers that have used ShareGate Desktop for all that migration and reorganizing and restructuring, is that when they're in this modern workplace, when you want to adopt these new ways of work with groups and we want to allow self-service, but there are things that we have to look into. There's compliance issues, security issues, and we want the self-service world. We want people to be able to share freely and use these new tools. We want Teams, we want Planner, but there's certain rules, certain ways or challenges that come with that. And we found that perhaps bridging or collaborating, I would say, with group owners more would be something that would be interesting.
Right.
And I know we talked about this a little bit earlier. I wonder, what do you think their challenges are when we finish the migrations? We've finished, and we're at the step where we want to adopt this modern way of working that Microsoft offers. What do you see some of these challenges? And I want to make sure that we attack them in the new tool, of course.
Of course, you've got some great ideas there, and you just spilled a few of them, but people are going to have to parse that out. Now, I think that one of the common problems we have is, okay, we're in Office 365. We know that people are doing things. We know that probably some good stuff's happening, but we don't necessarily know enough about it, and that can be from the IT perspective, or it can be from the group owner perspective. You know, we don't always have a good handle on what people are doing in those environments, in those experiences that we're exposing them to. So I think just like I see SharePoint Desktop as a great day-to-day tool, there probably are some opportunities for some other capabilities to help both of those two audiences, the IT department and the group owners, know more about how that garden's growing. You know, what is it?
Agree.
You know, what are the IT people worried about? What do they feel that they have to manage? And then what are the group owners thinking about? What do they want to make sure that the people in their sort of little bubble, a good bubble, you know, what are they working on? How is it going? What might they need help with? What might be something that they need to manage or sign off on?
Yeah.
So that everything is working as well as possible.
Because ultimately, we want the group owners to be able to do the best work that they can do, but they need some help because they don't know what all these tools do. They don't know how they work. And of course, that relates to IT, who's responsible for security, making sure we abide to all of that, provide a good environment. So we have two groups of two different people, and we definitely want to dive into that to bridge that gap and really help both have the best Office 365 possible. So helping the IT, helping you collaborate with group owners to be able to reduce sprawl of your environment, to be able to validate permissions and things happening there, to reduce chaos, or rather make sure that there's an end of life cycle managed. So really collaborating with your group owners quite a bit more.
You know, the good thing is I think Microsoft is giving us much better tools to manage all of that than they have. But it's not necessarily all-inclusive or at the pace that a lot of organizations are changing. That pace is a good thing. You know, the fact that we're moving, I keep crossing my fingers. I've been waiting 35 years for this to really happen. You know, where IT actually lets the people who own these systems, the so-called business, lets them use these technologies for the way they want to get their jobs done. So we want to both give people more freedom in order to manage their content and their technical environment, as well as be sure that we're fulfilling the corporate compliance and regulatory needs and all of that sort of stuff. I'm not ever saying we shouldn't do that stuff. We should always look at that as sort of the base. You know, it's just like you can't buy a house unless you have a job. You know, you have to have a little money before you can do that. So we have to have that base that IT is responsible for the security, the compliance, the regulatory adherence, all of that sort of stuff. But then we want to make sure that we give the tools to the people who actually use the technologies so that they can do their jobs as well as possible. So that it's a little bit of a dichotomy. You know, I described it earlier as trying to balance on the blade of a sword. If you move the wrong way, you can hurt yourself badly. But you want to give both of those audiences some real power and some great tools so that they can collaborate. I think that's exactly what you said before is exactly the way to do it. To help those folks work better together, remove some of the barriers between them working well together, because you know, traditionally there have been some bad barriers there. There have either been technological barriers or cultural barriers or incentive barriers. I think we can't really address that with any new tools, but hopefully by giving them some better tools, at least you're sort of laying some groundwork for that to be possible.
Well, then let's check it out. I hope you'll join us in the private preview. I hope you'll join us in the private preview where something will be there and we'll be helping you collaborate with your group owners to help reduce these things that we have that are sprawl, that are permissions and sharing everywhere. So check it out, and thanks again for coming, Mark.
Thanks for having me.
Thrilled to have you here.